All right, coming to you live from my daughter's pickup truck, the 1992 F-150, actually known as Bertha. This is the purpose of this video. I need to free up some space on my iPhone because every time I'm making videos and I use that iMovie, it says I don't have enough space. So I'm going to go through and get rid of some videos and pictures and throw them on the tubes of you. And some of the videos I want to go over, they're going to be drag racing videos and car pictures and things like this. So I'm from like Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we have this track, Atco Dragway, and it closed down last year. And so I just want to give you my perspective and my experience with Atco Dragway. I met a lot of great people there, and I have a lot of memories. So a little history on it. Now you can look it up. It opened in 1960. It was, and it closed in 2023. And it's a quarter-mile track. And let's see. Well, let me tell you my experience. Like I said, my dad took me there when I was a kid in the 80s. And it was like for special events, funny cars, and like pro stock cars, and I was hooked, man. You could, the speed, the smell of the burning rubber, and the race gas, and the alcohol fuel, the noise. The stands were packed. It was, as a kid, I said, man, I have to do this. And they even had over the road truckers. They had diesel drags there. I remember that, where you had these beautiful over the road trucks, and they would drag race. So you'll see some videos. I had a 1970 Mustang in high school. It's white and then primered black. I never raced that at Atco, but I did race. I bought it. It was in 1992 or 93, if I remember. It was a 1976 Pontiac Trans Am. It had a 455 and a 4-speed with a 373 rear. That was the first car I raced at Atco, and that would have been 92, 93. Let me tell you my story about it. Atco had Friday night street night, and the girl I was dating at the time and friends, we all went to Atco on a Friday night. And so I get there, I pay my entry fee, I rent a helmet, and Atco had these big walls that would divide the drag strip from Jackson Road. And I remember being in the staging lanes, and my anxieties through the roof. I was nervous as hell. And I was in the left lane, and I remember driving through that wall. It had like two garage doors. You may see a picture of it, them knocking it down, or some old photos I have. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm in the left lane. I'm in the burnout box. I wait for the guy to give me the signal. I can see the stands on the right are packed. Atco used to be packed. And I'm in first gear. I pop the clutch, and all I'm thinking is, don't stall the car. Don't stall the car. So I do my burnout, and the guy waves me. I put the car in neutral, clear the gas, wrap it a couple times. I put it back in first gear. Now I'm approaching the starting line, and in drag racing, we call it a tree or Christmas tree. It's those yellow lights, and it turns green to go. But you have to pre-stage it and stage. There's these two yellow bulbs up top. But damn it, I drive right past that, and I see the yellow bulbs, the pre-stage and the stage. That's embarrassing. So now I'm embarrassed as all hell. I put it in reverse. I back up. I see the lights go off again. I'm like, oh my God. So put it in first gear. Slowly pulling up. I stage the car, and the other fella, he's already in. The lights come down, yellow. I wait for the green, which will be another video. You drag racers know what I'm talking about. I waited to see the green, and that green light came on, and I went. And I'm thinking this is a drag strip. You could dump the clutch, and I only had street tires on, and it was running through the exhaust. I didn't have open headers on it or anything. And there I go. I'm spinning tires, and I get to the end of the track. I get my time slip, and I only went 14.5 seconds. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, second time around, I do the same thing. I pick the left lane. I do my burnout. This time I don't go past the starting line. I'm really concentrating. And I pre-stage, I stage. I wait to see the green light again. And launch the car at a lower RPM, but I'm still spinning tires. And that time I got down to a 14.1. So it's getting late at night. I get one more shot. It was probably around, it was after 10. I think the curfew was around 11:30. And my final time, I picked the left lane again and lower the RPM on the launch. Wait to see that green light, and I blasted 13.6. And I don't remember the mile per hour on them, but for the longest time, I kept all three of those time slips. It was my first run at the drag strip, and I kept them in the glove box of that car, which I still own today. And unfortunately, they disintegrated, and the mice got to them. So I should have kept them. But in the mid '90s to the early 2000s, in my opinion, that was the heyday of Atco. It was really packed. A guy by the name of Bob Van Sciver owned the track, and later on, sometime in the 2000s, Joe Sway had purchased the track from Van Sciver, and then it ended with a fellow by the name of Len Campone. And a lot of people think when the last owner, Campone, bought it, that's when Atco went downhill. But anyway, back to my memories, my experience. So I was racing a street car, and I was hooked. I wanted more. So in the fall of 1995, I bought a '63 Nova, the yellow one that you're going to see, which I still own that today, and that had a roll bar in it, and it was more set up for drag racing. And it's a mid 11-second car with a small block Chevy, 350 Chevy in it, and that car is my jam. I love that car. I bought it from a fella named Jimmy Seltzer, I believe was his last name, and I got heavier into it. On Atco, the schedule was Tuesday nights was Gamblers and Trophy Night and Test and Tune, and that's the night I tried to compete in when I was off. I'm in law enforcement, so the stars had to align. I had to be off on a Tuesday. It couldn't be raining, and if it was nice weather and I was off, nothing mattered. We were drag racing. Saturday was they had some testing, and it was points. Friday nights, I'm sorry, I skipped Friday. Friday nights was street night. That's where I would race the Trans Am, where you could test the cars. A lot of guys, if they worked on their cars before the Saturday's point race, they'd race Friday night. And if they changed a cam or a converter or did some work. And then Sundays was reserved for special events. But the 90s and early 2000s, I think that was the heyday of Atco. And I met a lot of great people there. The first one I want to mention is when I wanted to up my game with the Trans Am, I met a fellow by the name of Jimmy DeMario. You guys may remember he had a red Porsche, and not like a street Porsche. I think it was a 928. It was a two-frame car with a big black Chevy in it. And later on, it was painted black, and I think he rolled it, and then he repaired it, and he helped me tremendously. He introduced me to his friend, who was a legend down there, Donald Frazier. you'll see a photo with a Chevette with a big scoop out of it. Donald built that car. I'm not sure the engine in that, but I know Donald later on had a black Corvette with a big block in it, and then later on he painted it. I think it was like a maroon color. But those two have passed on, and they were great guys. Now they introduced me to my friend Jimmy Lopez, and I'll put his car. I bought his Camaro. Jimmy's still alive. He races his buddy's Dodge Conquest, and he built a big block Chevy truck, which that's finished. I was just at a barbecue at his house over Labor Day, and he had fired that up. He's real close to having that back at the track. Great guy, another great guy. So about when did I buy Jimmy's car? I want to say that was in the early. Like I kept up in my game, you know. I bought the Nova. I wanted to go faster, so I bought this tube frame car, and I didn't realize how expensive they were to build. So everything paused in the early 2000s, like right around 04, 05. I was on pause because I still stayed in law enforcement, but I changed employers, so I took a massive pay cut. We moved out of Philadelphia, and the housing market collapsed. So I had kids. Life happens, and racing had to go on hold. So I was out of racing for the longest time, and I got back into it in right around 2018. I bought a silver Camaro with a small block in it, and I went down to Atco, and it wasn't the same. It wasn't what I remembered. The stands, there was barely any people in the stands. It was a shame. That's when I was told that Lou Campone owns the track, and everything seemed like it was starting to fall apart. It was like in disarray. The guys went to other tracks, but during that time, when I wasn't racing, I met some other fellas that have really helped me out. One worked at our highway department. His name's John Mirage. You'll see his black S10. He was a mechanic at our garage. He's still alive. He just retired. He's in good shape. He's doing well. He introduced me to Mike Giovinazzo, and that's the front engine dragster that you see, the Patriot missile, that red, white, and blue blown front engine dragster. He's my engine builder. Very knowledgeable fellow. That guy works magic. So he's teaching me engine building and some tips and tricks, which you'll see in upcoming videos. And they also introduced me to the Spencer brothers, and that's who I bought that 383 small block from. And but that's pretty much the history of Atco Dragway. I made some notes here. Oh, now I want to throw in a couple things at the end of the video. Like I said, I'll put the Camaro that Jimmy Lopez used to own. It was called El Savage. El Savage? Forgive me. It means the animal in Spanish. And it's a red car at the end. And Atco used to have something called sand drags. And my Uncle Gary and my Uncle Ronnie, my Uncle Gary built dune buggies out of Volkswagen. And he used to run a car called Pac-Man. I remember it was blue. I couldn't find any photos of it. I went on his Facebook to look for it. I'll see if I did a photo. And my Uncle Ron raced a car called Abnormal, and it was a '66 Chevelle. So I'll put them at the end of the video. And again, guys, these are just some videos and photos. I gotta free up space on the phone. I'm no Scorsese. I'm doing this on a budget. So enjoy, and I'll chat with you later, and I'll explain the green light and some of my funny racing stories later on. Thanks for watching. Big turbo. Yeah, buddy.